This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. I've talked about this many times, about Donald Trump being a dumb guy, about Donald Trump being a stupid, incompetent man. And I don't want it to become something that is just, yeah, he's talking about it again, because it is important. And I don't want people to get to grow weary or tired of the topic. But to be president of the United States, a man or a woman needs to have a certain cognitive ability, a certain, not just adherence to intellectual norms, but also a respect for intelligence. I am going to be talking about U.S. intelligence here, the agencies, the NSA, the CIA, and the different outfits that we have in the intelligence infrastructure collecting information. But I want to speak more generally, really quickly, about Donald Trump and his disregard for what is factual, his trafficking in, his toying with conspiracy theories constantly. Whether it be that Barack Obama was not born in the United States, the racist conspiracy theory that Donald Trump was born in Kenya, or that Barack Obama was born in Kenya, or any one of a number of other conspiracy theories that he either wholeheartedly endorses, like climate change is a hoax, purported by the Chinese, developed by the Chinese, or like I said, any other number that he dips his toe in the waters of conspiracy theory. You need someone who has a foundational respect for a baseline of truth and fact. You need a president who has a deep and abiding respect for the intelligence community of the United States. And we don't have that in Donald Trump. We don't have that in Donald Trump because of, one, I think he's too stupid to follow the intensity of the information that's being given to him. It's been reported for years that he needs his name mentioned in an intelligence briefing multiple times throughout a single briefing to stay interested. If he gets bored, if he's not mentioned. So they've restructured the way that they deliver the presidential daily briefing, the PDB. And now it's being reported by the Washington Post that more than a dozen times Donald Trump was warned about the dire situation, the impending situation with the coronavirus, and ignored it. Completely ignored it. More than a dozen times in January and February, he was warned about this. He knew about this. This was on his radar. They were emphatic about it. Obviously, the United States intelligence infrastructure has a footprint that is very large. All across the globe. We have our fingerprints in way more places than we need to have them. We have our State Department, which is an arm of intelligence gathering. And they're all over the world. And they're collecting real-time, boots-on-the-ground data and information that is beneficial for a president to have, to make decisions based on that information. And because Donald Trump is either too stupid or wants to follow his gut, or both, he doesn't listen. The Washington Post writes, the advisories being relayed by U.S. spy agencies were part of a broader collection of worrisome signals that came during a period now regarded by many public health officials and other experts as squandered opportunity to contain the U.S. outbreak. U.S. officials emphasized that the PDB, or Presidential Daily Briefing, references to the virus included comprehensive articles on aspects of the global outbreak, but also smaller digest items meant to keep Trump and senior administration officials updated on the course of the contagion. Versions of the PDB are also shared with cabinet secretaries and other high-ranking U.S. officials. Completely ignored by this administration. Downplayed the virus when it was in his face more than a dozen times that this was a serious situation. He failed to register this as a threat. He was told this is a threat, and he failed to register it as a threat. Continuing. One official said that by mid to late January, the coronavirus was being mentioned more frequently, either as one of the report's core articles or in what is known as an executive update, and that it was almost certainly called to Trump's attention orally. Now, this is how it works with a presidential daily briefing. Donald Trump, on a daily basis, is giving a folder with highly sensitive, highly classified, very useful information in it. And it is his responsibility as President of the United States of America, what used to be a position that was considered the leader of the free world. It is his responsibility, his sole responsibility, to digest that information, to ingest, if you will, that intelligence data, to onboard it so that he can make informed decisions about some of the most important and gravitous things, about decisions that could change the world, that will cause markets to rise and fall, countries to exist or not exist. And Donald Trump chooses to not read it. It's been reported widely for many years that even the oral briefing that he receives a couple of times a week, multiple times a week, doesn't pay attention to it. It bores him. He'd rather be up there eating hamburgers and watching Fox News in the residence. The Washington Post continues, but Trump spent much of February publicly playing down the threat, while his administration failed to mobilize for a major outbreak by securing supplies of protective equipment, developing an effective diagnostic test, and preparing plans to quarantine large portions of the population. He knew. Well, we'll do it in order. He was told, therefore he knew, and he chose not to act. More egregious is not just choosing not to act, but going on national television, going to rallies, speaking before the media and therefore the United States, and he downplayed it. I'm going to play a clip here from the Washington Post where they outlined 34 different times, and there are many more, but 34 different times that Donald Trump, and now you know, he had the information. You know he had the information. Watch Donald Trump downplay having the information in his head. Watch him downplay the situation.
I don't believe the president has ever belittled the threat of the coronavirus.
Are there words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all, and we have it totally under control.
We think we have it very well under control. We pretty much shut it down.
A lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat. We're in very good shape.
I think it's going to work out fine.
Very well under control in our country. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. I mean, view this the same as the flu.
It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
We are working on cures, and we're getting some very good results.
We only have 15 people, and they're getting better.
Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. And this is their new hoax.
If you're healthy, probably go through a process and you'll be fine.
You take a solid flu vaccine, you don't think that would have an impact or much of an impact on corona?
No.
We are, I think, doing a very effective job.
Some of them go to work, but they get better.
You have to be calm. It'll go away. We're doing very well, and we've done a fantastic job. It will go away. Just stay calm.
Taking early, intense action, we have seen dramatically fewer cases of the virus in the United States than are now present in Europe.
It's going to go away. 1.4 million tests on board next week.
and 5 million within a month. I doubt we'll need anywhere near that. It's something that we have tremendous control of, and we're going to win. And I think we're going to win faster than people think, I hope. Parts of our country are very lightly affected. You're going to lose a number of people to the flu, but you're going to lose more people by putting a country into a massive recession or depression. They have to go back to work. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly.
I don't believe you need 40,000 or 30,000 ventilators.
2.2 million deaths. If we could hold that down, as we're saying, to 100,000, it's a horrible number. Maybe even less, but to 100,000. So we have between 100 and 200,000. We all together have done a very good job.
We think the death will be at a very low number. It'll be brought down to a very low number from right now, from where it's getting to reach its peak.
Our states, generally speaking, they're really flat. The CDC is advising the use of non-medical cloth face covering. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. There are certain sections in the country that are in phenomenal shape already. Other sections are coming online. Other sections are going down. Hard to believe that if you had 60,000, you can never be happy. But that's a lot fewer than we were originally told and thinking.
Unfit to be commander-in-chief. He is a conspiracy theorist. He is a dummy. We would be better off if we just roamed the beach. I live here in a coastal town, Southern California. I would be willing to comb the beaches to find a suitable piece of driftwood. We could paint a face on it, slap some moss on it, and call it Donald Trump. And it would do a better job than what Donald Trump is doing as president of the United States. No decision making would be better than what he is doing from the Oval Office. Almost 60,000 Americans have died in 2 months. More Americans have died in the last 6 weeks than died in the entirety of the Vietnam conflict. Driftwood's looking pretty good right now. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I appreciate you tuning in with me. You can call me. You can email me. I want to amplify your voices and your questions, the things that are on your mind. So please do. The other thing, as I often say, is that if you're in a financial position to do so, I would appreciate you supporting my work here as an independent voice, an independent media voice, an independent creator here on YouTube. Now more than ever, these times, we need people who do the things like I do, whether it be me or some other independent creator. If I bring value or if they bring value to you, I would encourage you to give, look, $2 a month, as little as $2 a month. If I was able to marshal the size of my audience, 2% of my audience, it would be a liberating occurrence where I wouldn't have to worry about YouTube and monetization and all of the policies that are arbitrary and everything else. So anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Stay genuine. Take care of one another.